Hi there, I'm Jack Van Ryn, Mayor of the Town of Coaldale. I will be giving you a council brief from our regular council meeting that was held June 26, 2023. And on the agenda this afternoon, we had two public hearings. The first one was regarding Area Structure Plan Bylaw 872-P-05-23. The purpose of the staff report was to present the proposed Northwest Area Structure Plan that had been submitted for the land surrounding the new high school and the multi-use recreation center in Northwest Coaldale. This first appeared before council on May 8th of 2023, where we passed first reading on the proposed bylaw. The area contains approximately 195.7 acres and includes environmentally sensitive areas, stormwater facilities, the new high school and multi-use recreation center, and existing low-density residential development. And the low-density residential development that's existing is just along 18th Avenue. In partnership with the town, ISL Engineering Consultants undertook the following process to develop the Northwest ASP. They had preliminary meetings with staff to review keystone documents, as in the town plan, the town master plan, preparation of preliminary concepts for review by town staff, stakeholder meetings that included two meetings to present concepts and to discuss concerns and issues. And again, first reading was passed on May 8th of 2023. A public open house to present the draft ASP to the general public was held on June 6th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Coaldale Community Center. So based on the public hearing, council deliberated extensively about the proposed bylaw, and ultimately second and third reading were passed. And if you want to look into the documents further, in the comment section I'm going to have the entire agenda package, and you can just click on the blue link and it'll take you to the staff report that will dig a little bit deeper into what was discussed. The second public hearing was regarding a land use bylaw amendment 873-P-05-23 regarding LED billboard signage. And council provided a first reading to this bylaw at our regular council meeting that was held on May 8th. And the purpose of the public hearing this afternoon was to allow for any interested party to present council with their thoughts, concerns with respect to the proposed change to the land use bylaw to alter the regulations governing billboard signs LED within the town of Coaldale. So just to back up a little bit, our administration team had received numerous informal requests to consider the establishment of LED billboards on various parcels along Highway 3 over the past several years. Recently, a more formal request came to administration as part of a finalization to plans for landscaping improvements at 1802 18A Avenue, and that's the Five Sons transloading. So that's the old elevator that's on Highway 3 as you come through Coaldale. And the Town of Coaldale land use bylaw did not currently allow for any type of development in any zoning for LED signs. So our administration team's position was that given that the existing regulations are quite strict relative to other jurisdictions, it is appropriate to consider adjusting them, as doing so aligns with the Town of Coaldale's strategic plan. Namely, the strategic plan identifies the following strategies as components of the town's commitment to community growth and economic prosperity. Number one, identify strategies to support town businesses in achieving economic health and focus on creating collaborative regulatory environment as in reducing unnecessary red tape that attracts business to Coaldale. Given the above, administration was of the opinion that considering modifying the land use bylaw to accommodate LED billboard signs in a limited capacity is reasonable, that the existing regulations have been in place for a significant period of time and may be determined to be out of date, which they were. For council consideration at our meeting, administration had prepared a land use bylaw amendment that generally mirrors the regulations of the city of Lethbridge, including provisions for brightness, size, frequency, and the style of copy change, etc. Billboards are also limited in the following ways: only those lots adjacent to Highway 3 and shall have a minimum separation distance between billboards of 300 meters and are a discretionary use in the industry, light industry, and highway commercial zoning. So the billboard signs would be strictly limited to Highway 3 coming through Coaldale, and there would only be allowed every 300 meters between them. Also, during the May 8th council meeting, council had directed administration to include an amendment to the size requirements for portable signs in order to allow for portable signs up to 8.9 meters or 96 square feet. And this revision was included in the proposed bylaw amendment as well. So the portable signs that you see around Coaldale now that advertise community events, sporting events, doesn't matter what event style it is, we will now allow LED signs to be utilized for those events. And based on that, council passed second and third reading. The next item that came up under agenda item 6.1, we had Justin McPherson, our Director of Operational Services, present regarding the Coaldale Cemetery columbarium. And the current columbarium that is at our cemetery is at capacity, and a columbarium comprises of niches where loved residents can put their cremated ashes of their loved ones. And we looked into adding another one, and council tasked our administration to come back with quotes on what it would cost to add a second columbarium. So Justin presented the council with some quotations, and we decided to purchase a 72 niche columbariums. In other words, there's places to put 72 cremated ashes, and that came in along with a concrete base foundation for the unit, all in for a price tag of $57,634. Previously, council approved a budget of $55,000 to go towards the columbarium, and we approved to go the extra $2,000 and change. And the way we're going to recoup those costs is that if anybody wants to purchase a columbarium niche, it's $1,830 for residents and $2,430 for non-residents. And based on the 72 units, this would generate a profit of $66,025, and these funds would go towards funding the next columbarium. So council approved the request for the proposed location and also the columbarium itself with the concrete foundation that's going to be required. The next item that came up was regarding a road closure bylaw 867-P-03-23, and that was for first reading. and that had to do with a road closure. And the purpose of the staff report was to present council regarding the road closure bylaw intended to close to public travel two portions of developed laneway with adjacent town-owned lands in order to accommodate the future development of the outdoor civic square space. And that area is directly to the south of the new civic square building, and then directly behind the library. So we're closing those back alleys so that we would have a clean slate to work with as far as the outdoor civic square development. And in order to accommodate the proposed development, we were requested as a council to formally close those portions of the lane located within Block 12, Plan 647, 6AA. And upon closure of these portions of the lane, they will be consolidated into the adjacent town-owned land as part of the project that we want to do with the outdoor skating rink, the outdoor concrete pad that will be used in the summer months for farmers markets and daily and weekly events. So council passed first reading for that. So that will trigger a public hearing that's going to be held on July 10th, 2023. And that's where affected residents or commercial businesses will have an opportunity to speak in favor or not in favor of the proposed lane closure. Then after that, we had agenda item 7.4, and that was regarding Area Structure Plan Bylaw 875-P-06-23, and that was regarding the West Industrial Area Structure Plan Amendment. And this was regarding a request to pass first reading. And the purpose of the staff report was to present council to amend the West Industrial Area Structure Plan to include lands legally described as Lot 4, Block 1, Plan 181-1388. And the West Industrial Area Structure Plan was presented for the first time to council in 2022. And after receiving feedback from landowners between first reading and second and third readings, a section of a privately owned land was removed from the area structure plan. So we're currently working on a new industrial park that is going to be directly east of Rehoboth and directly north of Live Electric, formerly Bills Electric. And that parcel of land, there was one landowner on the south side that did not want to participate in the project. So we removed that portion of land, and now that's being sold, and the new owner wants to join with the area structure plan. So council passed first reading on that, and then we'll be having a public hearing on that, I believe. Yes, so the public hearing will be held on July 10th, 2023 for second and third reading to include that southern portion back into the industrial park original area structure plan. Then under new business, we had Community Grant 2023, and we had Clayton Varsity, our Community Services Coordinator, and Russ Tanner, our Director of Recreation and Community Services, present on that. And that was regarding the community grant that we put out where people could apply for funding. And that funding comes as a result of our photo radar. So we give a percentage of the funds raised by our photo radar towards this community grant, and we open it up every year for nonprofits to apply for some of the funds. So this year we had $35,000 available, and we had 6 organizations apply, and they included the Coaldale Copperheads. They were applying for a community mascot character, and their request was $10,000. The Coaldale Public Library, they applied for a skate rental service for $11,318, and that's to do with the outdoor skating rink that we're going to be putting in behind the Civic Square, with the library being right there. They wanted to partner with the town of Coaldale where they would be able to have skates available for rental. Then we had the Gem of the West Museum do an application regarding updating their highway signs along the Highway 3 corridor through Coaldale. And then we also had the Friends of Jenny Emery Elementary School apply for $10,000 for an inclusive playground equipment addition. And I'll just back up for the Gem of the West. They applied for $5,000 for their highway signs. And then the Coaldale Pickleball Club, they applied for some funding to do some additional line painting for the pickleball courts. They wanted to add that to the existing tennis courts. So when they're having tournaments and they need more pickleball courts and the tennis courts aren't being utilized, with the line painting, they'll be able to repurpose the tennis courts on a temporary basis for pickleball. So the available funding we had was $35,000, and the total funding requested was $37,218. So what the council decided on was to provide full funding requested to the Coaldale Public Library, full funding to the Gem of the West Museum, and full funding to the Friends of the Jenny Emery School Society for their respective projects, with the remaining funds of $8,682 allocated towards the Coaldale Copperheads community mascot character. The rationale is that the other projects are not fully funded by the community grant, whereas the ask from the Coaldale Copperheads represents 100% of the funding for their project. And both projects, or both options, I should say, excluded fundings for the line painting at Eastview Park that was put forward by the Coaldale Pickleball Club. And this is because other funds were available and this work had already been completed operationally prior to the decisions being made on tonight's agenda item. So council approved to provide $35,000 funding to the organizations that I just mentioned. Then we had a report completed and presented under agenda item 8.2 regarding the Coaldale off-leash dog park accessibility option. And this was regarding putting a accessibility ramp at the dog park, I should say, that's located over by the mountain bike park and the Owl's Nest campground. And again, the purpose of this report was to provide council with options to making the Coaldale off-leash dog park more user-friendly for those with disabilities or declining health. Further, to give council the opportunity to provide feedback concerning the proposals ahead of the budget process. Coaldale's off-leash dog park is one of Coaldale's most well-used parks. In conversation with users, staff have heard that people even travel from Lethbridge to use the park. The recent rehabilitation of the Owl's Nest campground and the addition of the mountain bike park in close proximity has helped with the awareness of its existence and increased use. Accessing the park currently requires a person to park on 20th Avenue and then navigate down one of two large staircases located on the north side of the park, or to use a pathway system to access a gate on the east end and walk down a lower grade hill into the park. All three current access points would not be ideal for those with disabilities or those with declining health. So the Town of Coaldale Accessibility Working Group had provided a report in 2021 outlining two options to administration. And administration had taken into consideration the report with a bit more of their own research, prepared for council a couple of options. And to do it right is very expensive. And we wanted our administration team to look into it to make sure that we didn't miss anything. And the best entrance to do this would be on the northwest corner along 20th Avenue, and or the east gate off the pathway system. And the problem that we had with those is that because it's a storm pond, during rain events, that area can flood. So we can either do it in wood, we can do it in metal, or we can do it in concrete. And if we were to do the northwest 20th Avenue gate access, to do it in wood, that would be $70,000. To do it in metal, it would be $125,000. And concrete would be $150,000. So the problem is that we do not have funds available to spend that kind of money on a ramp at this time. So council directed administration by way of motion to come back when we have our budget deliberations this fall, and with some more firm pricing and some more options as to how we can get this done, because it's extremely important to our council, because we strive to be a barrier-free community, and this is very important that we get this done. But unfortunately, we do not have the funds right now, so this will come up at budget time this fall, and this will be something that we'll look at doing in 2024. And in the meantime, we directed administration to make sure that they do a public campaign to let residents know that this is something that's very important to council, and we'll be working to remedy it in 2024. Then we had under agenda item 9.1, we had our Director of Protective Services, Clayton Rutberg, and also our Director of Community Policing, Mark Anderson, present regarding the Emergency Services Quarter 1 report. And again, both those gentlemen do an excellent job, and there's so much information that I'm not going to dive into it as part of this video. Again, I'll have it as part of the agenda package that would be in the comment section, so I encourage you to review it at your leisure instead of me going through it as part of this video. Then we had under agenda item 10.1, under council and committee reports, we had a emergency advisory committee update from Councillor Lisa Reese. She's our council rep on that committee, and Lisa always does an excellent job on her verbal reports, and it brought council up to speed as to where they're at, and talking about several different initiatives that they're currently working on. And as part of my agenda package, I'll also have the video link for the live stream where you can see and hear Lisa give her report. Other than that, that was everything in the open session. And to close off, I just want to say that myself and other members of council are always available for any questions, concerns. You can phone us, you can email us, you can stop us on the street. We always look forward to a conversation. And do me a favor, when you take the time to watch this video. It'd be great if you share it, make a comment if you want me to do things differently as far as doing these videos, because I'll be honest, they take a little bit of work to get them done. And other than that, have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.